Okay, good evening, people. Let's just have a sound check here. Anybody there? Check one, check two, check three. Is anybody there? Hello, anybody there? Check my sound. Just check here. Check here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, as you know. Thank you so much for joining me. It's late. It is 11:15 at night, and we are good to go. It's been a long evening. Just started now. Earlier this evening, I have been with the Boxing Insight guys. Did an interview with them. Did a crossover show. Very interesting. I'll be uploading that later on tonight, early tomorrow. Then after that, I jumped on their podcast to talk about the welterweight division. Very good, good chat. I'm sure a lot of you joined us early on for that. And so now we're here. Bayloric TV, thank you so much for joining us. Got to start by saying don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. We're going to get straight into this one. I'm not going to waste any time. We're trying to get this wrapped up by midnight. We're going to try and get this wrapped up by midnight. I'm sure people may get in and have the things they've got to say. So let's very quickly check and see who we've got in the room. Terence Talbot. What's going on here? There we go. Start again. Terence Talbot says, word. Michael Redmond was the one that said to me, are we going to do a chat tonight? I guess we are doing a chat. So good evening, Michael. I hope you're well. Flex says, hi, Ingram, in chat. Terence Talbot says, I thought this is past Ingram's bedtime. Right. Anyway, Redmond says, Mike, check one, check two. That's to check our sound's going well. Don't know what's going with this tonight, but Ben Lowe says, yep, working. And Joseph says, it's already midnight. Indeed, it is. Where you are, it's still 11, 11:15. The Boxing Insight, good to have you here. Great stuff. I think we'll get started. First and foremost, I haven't addressed it. We'll address it now. The heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, is on the front cover of the Ring magazine. So congratulations to Tyson Fury for that. A great performance, as we know, in terms of beating Vladimir Klitschko and getting the credit he rightfully deserves. Didn't win Sports Personality of the Year, but who really cares? We all know what that was all about. I'm glad to see Tyson is on the front cover of the Ring magazine. Evening to Jamie Patterson. So fantastic to Tyson Fury for that. I think that's great that that's happened. I think Tyson needs to have a lot more credit in the UK. Pretty disgusting the way he's been treated. And it's interesting. Carl Frampton gets the MBE. Tyson Fury doesn't get FA. But let's moving on. Saw Joe Gallagher has won Trainer of the Year. I know Joe Gallagher's done well this year, but I think that Peter Fury really should get it simply because he's trained a guy. It's not just ups. What you got to take into consideration. What you got to take into consideration is that it wasn't just upset of the year. this upset of the year didn't just upset people because Tyson Fury was the underdog. It upset people on so many different levels. It's still upsetting people today that he's world heavyweight champion. I don't know in recent times a fight that has had people still talking about it, being upset about the fight afterwards, still on to this point in time. The sort of upset it's had and sort of reverberations it's had afterwards. So Boxing Insight says the fight, tonight's show was brilliant. It was indeed, I've got to say that. Luke Joseph says, come on, after Ronda Rousey was on the cover. Joseph, I don't know how long you've been watching Ring Magazine. Yeah, I know they made a mistake slightly there with Ronda Rousey, but I would say Ring Magazine is generally a decent magazine, a well-respected magazine. And I think it's an honor. I think it's great that Tyson's on the front cover. Not many of our British champions, British champions, have actually gone on to be part of Ring Magazine, and I think it's a great thing for Tyson to be on there. So let's wrap that up. Back to Joe Gallagher. Yes, he's done well, but I think Peter Fury deserved to get Trainer of the Year based on the fact that what he's done with Tyson Fury and what he's done with Hughie Fury. Remember, Hughie Fury didn't get passed on by somebody else and ended up in his gym and started training. Hughie Fury's trained from the amateurs. Okay, so I think that Tyson really, Peter Fury really should have got that based on that. And of course, Hughie Fury is now, you know, close to the top 10 in the world, whether you like it or not. And I think now he could beat both Martin and Glazkov. Should they fight? Technically, he's better than both of those guys. So Hughie Fury is there or thereabouts in terms for the IBF, in my opinion. If those two guys can fight, then why can't they? Why can't Hughie fight as well? So in terms of Hughie and Tyson, and of course what Peter Fury's done with other fighters as well. You know, he's also trained Eddie Chambers as well. So I think Peter Fury really does need a lot more credit than he's deserved. I think he should have really got the Trainer of the Year, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, let's move on. The heavyweight division. There's been news coming out of America. Good evening, Bruce Wayne. There's been news coming out of America of Mr. Wilder, Mr. Spzilka, my Polish friend. I was talking to at length today. He's been watching boxing for over 20 years. A lot of people are giving Spzilka a great chance to beat Deontay Wilder. Today, I saw Spzilka and Wilder going head-to-head. There's a lot of things Spzilka's been saying in the build-up to this fight, questioning Deontay Wilder. Why is there no random drug testing? He's been speaking a lot of sense. If you listen to Spzilka, and he's been talking a lot about Deontay Wilder, his punch power. Since he's moved up, he hasn't been knocking people out in the first and second round. He's got a very valid point there. Fought Molina. Molina got sparked in a round by Arreola. Then you've got, what's the other game? Duhapis went 11 rounds, but no, Duhapis never got stopped by anybody, to be honest, and it's pretty solid. But then Wilder still couldn't get him out of there. He also couldn't get Stavern out of there. So has Spzilka got a point about Deontay Wilder's punch power? If he gets laid out in a round or two, Spzilka's going to look like a bit of an idiot. But I don't believe so. I think Arthur Spzilka is a better opponent, in my opinion, than Molina. I think he's a better fighter than Duhapis. I think he's got better hand speed than Duhapis and Molina put together. I think with hand speed, you've got a situation there where you expect Deontay. If Deontay Wilder is anywhere near the fighter that everyone's talking about, he should be after Spzilka. Now, that kind of confrontation between Spzilka and Wilder. Listen, Spzilka, before he even got to this fight of fighting Wilder, those who don't know him, he was a bit of a bad boy beforehand around Poland. He was a bit of a hooligan, football hooligan, minute himself. So to be honest, I think Spzilka, he's going to come and give it his all. But you could say that about the last two opponents. But this guy is a cut above. And I didn't think Deontay Wilder looked spectacular in all of those two fights. Got rocked badly by Molina. Didn't look great against Duhapis. I know he beat Duhapis up, but Duhapis is a walking punch bag. What you've got now in Spzilka is somebody experienced in Ronnie Shields, who's training Spzilka. And I know the trainer doesn't fight for you, but Ronnie Shields is an experienced heavyweight trainer. And I think that Spzilka being a southpaw, southpaw style, fast hands, can he get in and out? Wilder, I really don't believe in Wilder's chin. He's open when he throws shots. He's very wild when he throws shots, leaves himself open. I'd like to see Wilder get behind his jab, dominate behind his left jab, putting the right hand behind, tying his opponent up, working on the inside. I want to see him doing those things with Molina. But I suspect we're going to get the same bow. And when I see Wilder fight, it's very much bow and arrow, meaning the left hand, the left hand goes back, the right hand's there, he pulls from here, and he just throws his big right hand. I think Spzilka in the early rounds, if he can use his feet and move around and get in and out and from side to side, maybe an interesting fight. I want to see how Spzilka does in this fight. If Deontay Wilder is the fighter we expect him to be, I expect him to beat Spzilka. But because this is a level above, I don't know, to be honest. But I wouldn't count Spzilka out because, do you know what? I think Deontay Wilder's style is very basic. He's exciting, but he's very basic. Up to this day, he still hasn't shown me he can actually block a jab. His way of blocking a jab is pulling his head back, straight back from punches. Lennox Lewis has made the point beforehand that Deontay Wilder's team does need help. What they have done with these voluntary fights, as far as I'm concerned, is give Deontay the chance to constantly develop and improve his game. So I expect him to see, hopefully, better than he looked against Lee Harpers. But the thing is, with Wilder and Spzilka, you've got a guy who's already a bad boy, who's not going to be intimidated by Wilder. And if you can put Wilder onto the back foot, and he can actually hurt Wilder early, and it's not like Wilder hasn't been dropped before. It's not like Wilder hasn't been hurt before. He hasn't been hurt before. It's not like Wilder has got the greatest chin in the world. So, I don't count Spzilka out in this fight. I think he's a level above. He's a level above the guys that Wilder's been fighting recently. And if Wilder makes those sort of mistakes against someone like Spzilka, someone would say, well, okay, Spzilka's not got a great knockout record. Sure. But the guy that dropped Wilder and almost knocked him out, Harold Shonias, he didn't have a great knockout record either. And to be honest, Wilder was almost knocked out in that fight. So I would like to see what people think about that. I do believe Spzilka is a live underdog. The Boxing Insight says that Wilder knocks him out inside 6 rounds. He may well do. If Wilder is the real McCoy, he should knock Spzilka out. But I'm not convinced he is the real McCoy. I think there's a lot of deficiencies in Wilder. And I think if Wilder was the real McCoy, he probably would have fought Povetkin already. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm not so sure. I think if Wilder wins this fight, there's every possibility he could vacate the WBC and then go on and fight the winner of the IBF. Just saying. So there's my thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on Spzilka versus Wilder? A lot of Polish people are backing Spzilka for this one. A lot of Polish people, but they may be backing him because he's just Polish. But I think he's got a very good chance against Wilder, in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So Terence Talbot says, Spzilka is a live underdog. Feed Hakeem says, why would Wilder duck Povetkin? Povetkin is shit. I think Povetkin's fought better opposition than Wilder. I think Wilder's fight opponent since he's fought Stavern is questionable. He doesn't need to vacate the WBC belt. Unification's overall mandatories. Okay. Michael Redmond says, because Wilder is scared of semi-bangers. Now, Feed Hakeem, I would, if you can, go do your research on the fight that Wilder had against Harold Skonius. where he was down for the count of 9. That fight you will not see anywhere on YouTube. Look at Vlad versus Povetkin. He was awful. Stavern would beat Povetkin, in my opinion. Yes, but you've got Vlad, who's got an excellent left jab and a right hand, and is fundamentally a better boxer than Wilder will ever be. Wilder is very amateurish in his style. Ben Lowe says, did you know that Dave Allen dropped Spzilka in sparring? In a Forcey interview, he gave Spzilka no chance. Okay. I don't know when Dave dropped Spzilka in sparring. He may well have dropped Spzilka in sparring, but Dave is a big puncher himself. Right, David Redmond brings it up. Skirniers has been removed from all social media by Heyman, same as Haye had Digger KO versus Mori removed. Right, we're going to move straight on to that. And thank you, said that, David Redmond. A lot of people are talking about Mori. Oh, Mori, his one loss. His one loss was against a guy called Digger. Digger KO'd him in 1 round, Mark Mori. When we're talking about boxing, we have to consider these things. And Mori got KO'd in a round by a guy called Digger. And if you go on YouTube, you'll see Digger's fights, and you can tell me what you think of Digger. David Haye, speed, power, movement. If he's anything like David Haye that we know, I believe David Haye can stop Mori. He could end this fight in the 1st or 2nd round. Dave Redmond, haha, Dave on Redmond. Yeah, sorry, Michael Redmond. Yeah, I believe David Haye can win this fight within 2 rounds. David Haye said in an interview, oh, Mark Mori's never been dominated, or Mark Mori, we've never seen Mark Mori get taken apart. So, you know, I'll be the first one to do it. Something like along them lines, David said. Oh, hold a second, David, you're lying. You're lying again. You're lying again. This is David Haye Mark II. You're bullshitting the fans again. You're telling the fans that Mark Mori's never been dominated. Mark Mori got sparked around by a guy called Digger. Go back and listen to the interview, and then go and see what happened to Mori. They've removed the video, but we know Mori's been stopped in a round. Feed Hakeem says, Hayes saying he's heavier now because he wants to be, and it's not because he's older and hasn't fought in 3 years. Another porcupine from David. Indeed. Question you've got to ask yourself is, where's Shane McGuigan in all this? Is Shane McGuigan the lead trainer, or is David Haye the lead trainer? That's what I want to know. How Haye is David now? I don't know. Hakeem says Haye could not train and win this fight. That's true. Feed Hakeem says, don't know how but he's heavier than he was. He's trying to play it down already before the weigh-in. Mark Foggett says, total mismatch. Haye wins in 2 rounds. Easy work. I totally agree with you. Terence Talbot, Haye destroys Mori. Redmond says, Haye's a twat. You know I used to love him. How many times have I gave up on him? I'm off the train. I'm back to the wagon. Talbot says, English, please. Yes, Giuliano Angelo Cuto. I won't even pronounce your last name. If you can speak in English, that would be great. If not, can somebody please Google translate that for me? Ben Lowe says, depends on Haye's shoulder. If he injures it, it could be closer fight than people think. Listen, if Mark Mori, who got chinned in a round by Digger, can go 4 or 5 rounds of David Haye shouldn't even go anywhere near Anthony Joshua. Think about, I'm 2 fights away from Anthony Joshua. David Haye. That's what you got to be thinking to yourself. If David Haye's going to fight Anthony Joshua in the summer. Oh, Joseph says, my boy Mark's got this, KO in 2. Michael Redmond says, to be fair, Haye has been out 3 years. Odd. It's a bogus spar on TV and reality. It is. It is. Giuliano says, what a fuck. Right. Okay. Feed Hakeem says, who is a good fight for Haye next? I'd like to see him fight Tepper, but he won't. Actually, I'd like to see David Haye versus Dillian White. Dillian White, David Haye. The winner fights Joshua in open air next year, or this year in the summer. That's what I'd like to see. Haye versus Takam is a good scrap. Is indeed. Haye versus Mike Perez. Yeah. So there's some things there. Apparently, Copender says, apparently Warren wants to sign Joseph Parker. That'd be good. Foggett says, I'd like to see Haye fight White. Indeed. Jerry Boy says, hope Haye gets beat. Mind you, would love to see him in with Anthony Juice to the gills, Joshua. I wonder what excuse he would come up with. It's Spanish and it translates to... No, that was Spanish. You need to translate it to English, my friend. Michael Redmond says, I don't think Haye ever had an injured shoulder. He stayed away until he can come back and time it perfectly to get some big money pay-per-view fights. You know, if Haye performs in this, it's an easy fight. It's in the next fight. Ben Lowe says, Haye versus Perez would be good. It would indeed. Frank Warren, Fred Feed Hakeem says, Frank Warren is on hard drugs. He thinks Joseph Parker is the best heavyweight in the world. Well, you know what? I've been saying I thought Tyson Fury was the best heavyweight in the world. A lot of people laughed in my face for years. Now he's beating Klitschko. People are jumping on the bandwagon. You need to be able to spot these fighters before they actually prove themselves. That's in one way if you find out whether how much you do know about a sport or you can make a judgment. Because we called it wrong. You know, Michael Redmond says he's gonna go pay-per-view, no diet. He's a shyster. That's what Redmond says about Haye. Talbot Copeland says really Parker would be awesome. So I think Craig Stevens says, is there a reason why Haye's fighting the 15 stone and not a big heavyweight? Yeah, I still go back to my belief system that I don't know if this is true. This is my own thought process. I think he sparred Deontay Wilder. Something nasty happened in sparring, got knocked out in sparring, and since that, had a really bad experience. I think somewhere in that sparring session, got clipped by Wilder, got hurt badly by Wilder, got knocked out in sparring badly, and it kind of knocked his confidence as a heavyweight. I don't know. Just a thought. He hasn't fought since then. Haye versus Wilder. Haye would beat Wilder defo. Really? Really? Now? Don't know. Wilder, I think, has come on. I know it's contradiction. I think he's come on. I wouldn't like to see Wilder clipping Haye, that's for sure. Both Tyson Fury and Vladimir Klitschko sparred Parker. They both rate him very highly. Indeed. Redmond says, Frank talking about top heavyweights other day on Coogan. Frank never mentioned Ortiz in the top 5 because his boys fighting him next. Ortiz is a massive threat to all heavyweights. You know it, Ingram. I know. Ingram, I am from Holland. Would Dave Allen beat David Haye? Depends what Dave Allen turned up. Motivate Dave Allen. Dave Allen that slips, bobs, weaves, stands a very good chance. Carries power in either hand. Can be a defensive genius. And it's got a great chin. So I think it'd be a great fight to see. Haye got that cut from that big amateur heavyweight. Flip. Is it here, Golf, you've got? You coming around to that Ortiz train too? Two all aboard. Yeah, I want to see Ortiz now fight somebody as big as him, cracking him back. I know he did well against Bryant Jennings. I'd like to see Ortiz versus Stavern. That'd be a good fight. Dave's really talented in 9 fights. Wow, looking good. Yep. Love to see Dave Allen. He's fighting again, I believe, somewhere in February. I think February 12th or the 14th. Andy Wilkinson, ask any of the Furies about Mark de Mori. He's a completely overrated fighter. Mori is at best a B level. Hughie Fury would destroy him. Yeah, we know that. That's what I'm saying. Hughie Fury would destroy him. But to David Haye, this is I've said this on the boxing. I said it in an interview earlier with the Boxing Insight. I said that I said that David Haye versus Mori is a fanboy fight in the sense that when David Haye wins, should he win against Mori, David Haye will then be considered the best in sliced bread, knock Joshua out in one punch, will knock Fury out in one punch, and all the Haye fans will jump out the bandwagon saying Haye's the best heavyweight in the world. Don't say I didn't warn you. Twitter feed will go completely wild. Probably Haye will be the front page or the back page of the newspapers. It'll be interesting to see after David Haye's fight, should he win, what sort of coverage David Haye gets. If he wins and he blows a guy out in a round, will they boo him? Will the British public boo him? Will the media spin that in the newspaper and say Haye is back? Will they be kind of careful because Joshua's the golden boy, and kind of treat Haye with a sort of indifferent? How are they going to be? Bearing in mind the way they've treated Tyson Fury, even though he's the heavyweight champion. The heavyweight champion of the world is in the UK. Bear that in mind. Terence Talbot says Alan already has a draw in his record. Will he go anywhere? Bear in mind that Alan, when he fought that fight, was not in the greatest shape. Redmond says he sparks Stavern, mate. I like Bermain, but he's below Ortiz's skill set and power, in my opinion. Remember, Bermain Stavern in the I think World Championships is a pretty good skill set. Mark Foggett says yes, definitely, mate. Wilder's only got a puncher's chance against Haye, indeed. Andy Wilkinson, they will all jump back on the bandwagon, LOL, as always. And I'm telling you now, wait and see, timeline, if Haye wins this fight by knockout, which he should do unless something's gone terribly wrong, should he knock Mori out, watch the timelines, watch the trends. David Haye's going to be top of the trends. And like I said, Andy Wilkinson says, as long as he wins, Sky Sports will make sure he's seen as the next coming. There you go. I think the WBA ordered Ortiz versus Ustinov. Yeah, I think Ortiz wins that fight. Nobody wants any of Fury. Well, personally, I'd like to see you fight one more, a final eliminator or eliminator for the IBF, and then go down the IBF route. I'd love to see him there. Or even, well, not the WBA route even. Lucas Brown versus Shagayev. I'd put Hugh Fury with both guys tomorrow. I wouldn't think twice about it. Ustinov, the next unfortunate victim for King Kong. Yeah, I think Ustinov's going to get stuffed, to be honest. Right, let's move on very quickly. So I think everyone agrees that Haye will chin Mori, and if Haye gets chinned by Mori, we'll see. Mike Kimware says Haye is past his prime. Okay. Then, Mike, what is Haye's prime? When was his prime? You know, because, I mean, he's 35. Some people could be prime 35. Don't know. Up the top, coming down. I mean, what is Haye's prime? Would you say Haye's prime was the Audley fight? Would you say Haye's prime was the Ruiz fight? Would you say Haye's prime was the Valuev fight? When was his prime? How can we say he's past his prime when we haven't seen him fight yet? Good point. Imagine if Mark Mori knocks him out. Okay, just for a second. Imagine if Mark Mori knocks out David Haye. Yeah, just think about it for a second. I hope Stavern gets some good fights in 2016. I'm a huge fan. Yeah, I do. Just waiting to hear what he's got to say for himself. Domain, I'll be talking to him soon. Haye only has 30-odd fights. Started late, really late. Remember the other thing about David Haye? He's not been in a lot of bruising, hard battles because he's chinned guys quickly. So Benjamin Berger says Haye's prime was when he was a cruiserweight. Boxing Insight says his prime was from Mormick to Valia for me. Andy Wilkins says doesn't matter what Haye's prime was, he hasn't fought and beaten a decent heavyweight. Good point. Redmond says Haye not really over heavyweight, but his style makes him older due to reliance on technique. Yeah, I think his lack of technique will let him down because he's about speed and reflexes. Once his speed and reflexes go, he's going to get chinned all the time, much like Roy Jones Jr. Craig Stevens says his prime was cruiserweight. He's too small as a heavyweight. Say that to Evander Holyfield. Moving on. Haye will be looked back on prime days as cruiserweight. Well, let's see what he does as heavyweight. If he comes out now and he chins Mori, and then he goes out and he chins Joshua, and then he goes out and he chins Tyson Fury, what are you going to say? What would you say then? He chins Mori, he chins Joshua, who's the next coming of George Foreman, and then he chins Tyson Fury. Do you know what I mean? Well, if he did do that, what would you say about David Haye? Would it all be forgotten? Would it all be forgiven? Would you all line up outside McGuigan's gym and get autographs from David Haye? Andy Wilkinson says, never going to happen, Ingram. Well, I don't think it's going to happen either. But for Haye fans, I've got to put it out there because, you know, as for Haye fans, they might want to hear that. That's the stuff they want to hear. And mark my words, like I said, if Haye does do the business against Mori and chins him early, you'll be hearing that same stuff across Twitter. What I want to know is who's going to be the first to say it. The boxing is like, I would love it if Haye pulled out this week. Would be comical. It would be comical at the point of maybe David Haye about to come to the ring. Something happens. It'd be quite funny, and he has to pull out for genuine reasons at the O2 Arena. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's wish David the best and get him back in that ring. Hey, Tyson Fury would play with her. I agree. I've said that. So says, have you seen the Wilder Spzilka brawl on YouTube yet? I've just seen it. Yeah, but you know, Spzilka, they had, what was their beef in the beginning? Spzilka's a man that speaks his mind. Spzilka's been speaking his mind for a while. You know, if you listen to Spzilka's interviews, he's been saying a lot of things. He's been saying a lot of things that are sort of things a guy says as an underdog, but a guy that knows he's one of these live underdogs that's well aware of the task ahead, and he's got a good trainer in his corner in Ronnie Shields. I always do want to bring that in. Andy Wilkinson, if Haye beats Tyson, he'll personally show my ass on YouTube and be Haye's personal fanboy. LOL. Michael Redmond, look how Haye fared with Vlad. Look how Fury dealt with Vlad. Haye won't get close. Has no inside game. He's too small. Cool Jew says, never gonna happen. Haye will fight Joshua and get KO'd. Now, I want to say something here about the Joshua thing. Two things happened in the Joshua fight against Dillian Whyte. First of all, do you think Dillian Whyte is a bigger puncher than David Haye? Number two, if David Haye had caught Joshua in that second round, would we even be talking about Joshua today? I know if David caught Joshua with that big shot, it'd be 3-4 punches more David would be landing, and we wouldn't be talking about Joshua today. Because you know that David is a world-class finisher. World-class finisher. Just something to think about there, guys. A piano will fall out the sky, land on Haye, and still has to fight. The Boxing Inside says, Ingram, I want to join one of your live shows, interacting with these fans. Well, we need to do it. I need to get this boxing hangout. I need to get my hangout sorted because I don't know what's going on in my hangout. So you have to show me how to do the hangout. And what I'll do is invite some of these fans on as well to do a Skype special as well. Mark Froggatt says, I think Haye beats Joshua all day long. Hype job. I think so too. Speed, movement, technique, in and out movement, all wrong for Joshua. I mean, David's got the ability. Well, he had the ability for someone like Joshua, who is fast but will throw the jab. Haye's got the opportunity to catch Joshua and then land his own shots. I mean, if you look at the way he took care of Chisora, and I know you say Klitschko, but Klitschko is safety first, defensive. Joshua is at that. Joshua hasn't been knocked out yet, so he's not safety first. Joshua is very much predator mode at the moment. Cojones going forward, but I think he'll make the basic mistakes where I think David Haye can capitalize on because of speed and movement. If he's still got that sort of speed and movement. Wilkins says Haye can beat Joshua. I say this because Joshua has a really bad defense. Agreed. Mike Kimwer says it will be Haye's first fight in more than 3 years. It will be a 50-50 to which way it may go. Whoa. That Haye in 2012 is still too much for Joshua. The 26 version, on the other hand, who knows? 2016 version. Yes, good question. Good point, Bruce Wayne. Afro or no Afro? What do you think? Cane row or no cane row? Michael Redmond, Haye's too slick for Joshua. Joshua's rigid and a bit plodding. Agreed. Joshua needs to work on a fast twitch and loose muscle. He's too stiff. Great power, but what else? I agree. I bet Spzilka Brawl will stage. Wilder gets very low ratings. Spzilka as an opponent will bring more viewers. He needed that brawl. I agree with you. Because there was nothing in the build-up to the fight before when the two guys met. Why are you brawling all of a sudden now? I mean, a lot of people talk about Wilder. You know, that's the way. He ain't pay-per-view. That's my thoughts. But people think other things. Mark says Joshua is just another Bruno. Time will tell. I've said this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think he's a Bruno, but that's my thoughts. Boxing Insight says we'll have a chat tomorrow, Ingram. Got some new ideas and new additions to talk to you about. Okay, sounds good. Lads, tut. Haye won't go near Joshua near of fear of being hit, and when he does, Joshua will connect. Boom. The question you've got to ask yourself is, can Joshua catch Haye? Now, there's one thing fighting a guy that you think you can catch because of his defense. There's another guy fighting a guy that can take you out of one shot and and he's got faster hands than you. With the Dillian Whyte fight, Dillian Whyte didn't have the explosiveness that David Haye has, the movement, the speed. Now, David Haye, you talk about the speed of David Haye. I have to remind you, Valuev landed, John Ruiz landed, Audley even landed a jab. So David, for his speed and movement, still gets hit. Remember that. Andy Wilkinson, what's your thoughts on Warren saying Parker is the best heavyweight out there at the moment? Has Warren finally lost his mind? Well, depends. Warren's saying Parker or Burger King Parker at the moment because he's sponsored by Burger King. Joseph Parker, good fighter. Warren saying he's the best in the world. That's because he wants to sign him. And Barry Hearns already got Joshua, and he says he is the best in the world after fighting Dillian Whyte. So it depends what you want to go there. I think they're just as bad as one another. Andy, stop ducking me, son. Where have you been? Andy Wilkinson says, Cameron, don't forget Uncle Andy. Michael Weber says, Haye won't give a shit if he gets laid out. He wants money. The boxing side says, haha, we're going to go to video podcast, mate, with some custom overlays. Sounds good. Mark Fugger says, a better boxer will always be a big puncher. Good point. Michael Weber says, he's coming up. He's talking him up because he's going to sign him. I agree. Andy Wilkins says, laugh my head off. BBP. Yeah, he's the Burger King man. And Ali Wilkins says, agreed, Michael. Agreed. There we go. So I think let's move on a little further on quickly because I want to end this before 12 if we can. I want to talk about Charles Martin versus Glazkov. Now, after Danny the Gift Garcia in terms of gift decisions, straight after that is Glazkov. Glazkov to me he should be a gift as well. I mean, he's a gifted fighter in the sense that the amount of gifts he's had. He had a gift against Adamek. He had a gift against Malik Scott, and he got a Christmas present with Steve Cunningham. All those guys, I think, all of those guys beat Glazkov. Now he fights Charles Martin. Bearing in mind, all those three guys beat Glazkov, right? If you rate Adamek. Malik Scott, and Cunningham. Those three guys are not even big punchers. They're not even big punching heavyweights. This guy, Charles Martin, if he can crack, I'm going to go with Charles Martin by KO early or Glazkov late. Points. I believe that Glazkov is the IBF champion in waiting if the fight goes to points. But if the fight is early, I think it'll be Charles Martin that wins it. So that's my thoughts on that. I think Martin's a good fighter. I'm going to go with I'm going with Charles Martin. I'm rolling with Charles Martin in this one, not because he's black, because some people say, "Hey, back him because he's black." I'm backing Charles Martin because I've seen enough of Glazkov to know that he's a very poor fighter, and I haven't seen enough of Charles Martin. But what I have seen of Charles Martin is chinning a few guys, and he looks, he doesn't look great. I'm not saying he's the best in the world, but let's give Charles Martin a chance. I think he's fighting for the World Heavyweight Championships and the championship shipped by the IBF, shipping Tyson Fury, as we know, is a ridiculous situation. But hey, let's see. I'm going with Charles Martin on this one, but I do believe if it goes to points, Glazkov gets it. So, yep, everyone's agreeing with me. Redmond says, I'd love to see Fury versus Ortiz. Tyson rates Ortiz as the best out there apart from himself, obviously. Yeah, that's a good fight. Does Glazkov even beat David Price? No, I don't think so. Can Martin win a decision against Duma Fighter? No. Glazkov got beat by Cunningham, says the Boxing Insight. Agreed. Redmond says, I'll go draw. If they do it again, money. Heard it here first. Watch. Berger says, I think Charles Martin is better than Glazkov. I do too. Terence Talbot says, Price KOs Glazkov. The Boxing Insight says Glazkov wins this on decision. Okay. Andy Wilkins says, Glazkov is seriously limited. Martin fights like any big guy from the gym. That's enough to beat Glazkov, I think. Bearing in mind that three guys have beaten Glazkov pretty well. I would go with Charles Martin, fresher in that sense. That's what I would go with that, but I could be completely wrong there. Let's see if there's anybody on Twitter who's got something to say. No, good. Right, I think Ben Lowe says Glazkov and Martin ain't in my top 20. Whoever wins this is the world heavyweight champion in my lifetime. Really? You really want to go there? Bruce Seldon? Let's see. Frank Bruno? We can continue. I mean, Martin beats Glazkov. We still don't know how good Martin is because nobody rates Glazkov. Andy Wilkins says, I think you might be right, mate. Benjamin Berger says, I hope that Martin's ass don't get robbed. I hope so too. This is the worst heavyweight title fight in a long time. Really? So where does David Haye or DeHousen rank? One punch was landed, or was it one punch, one jab was landed by the challenger? Martin stopped Joey Dawaki, who went the distance man saw, so that's not bad. Yeah, Joey Dawaki. Okay, fine. So that's something there. Bruce, you sound like Hearn. Be here all night, mate. Going over that comment. I agree. I'm going to go Charles Martin is underrated. I think Charles Martin is underrated. And I know a lot of people got beef because of the IBF and the Tyson Fury situation. Yes, fine. No matter how much you're upset about it, the IBF have stripped Tyson. That's it. We've got to get over it. So, yeah. It's crazy insight. Honestly, it just waters down division. Worse than Canelo. Haha. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. Heard about Erkin Tepa's ban. Yeah, I did. But what about it? Glazkov Martin, two fighters who have done NAFL. Haye was a legit world operator. Legit world operator. Evander Holyfield at 48 or 49 years old beat up Valuev. Didn't get the decision. David Haye, wait, 32, 34 punches. He made Valiev look like the Rubik's Cube in comparison to what Holyfield did to him. Holyfield didn't get the decision. Only heard it today. Does that mean the fight versus Price is ruled a no contest? That's what I understand. That's what I was told. Yes, Michael, says the Boxing Insight. Here's a guy that I'd like guys to talk about. Haye beats Ruiz. Ruiz beats Holyfield. Holyfield beats Valiev. Valiev beats Valiev beats Valiev. Got beat better by a 47-year-old or 49-year-old compared to a 30-year-old. Ingram, it's time for bed. LOL. Good night. Holyfield was 110. Yeah. Berger says Holyfield was 110. Want to talk about Tepa? Ortiz is the second coming. Ruiz came out of retirement and was completely shot. Yeah, that's out of retirement. It should, in my opinion, I've only just heard it. I've not read anything about it. Been busy. Cool Jews. Roy Jones. Please talk about tournament 147 pound. I have spoken about it tonight. 147 pound, and I did a big talk about it. I was part of the Boxing Insight earlier. I will say this much: those who know me well will know that I am a big fan of Keith Thurman, but Thurman's saying a lot of things that are quite contradictory. Thurman's talking about how fighters are shot and passed it on over the hill in Collazo, but when he fights Collazo, it was almost a life and death struggle against Collazo, and Collazo almost buckled him and had him over the body shot. And if you look at what Amir Khan did against Collazo, Collazo was down how many times against Amir Khan, but Amir Khan's, nothing more than a blown up light welterweight. But anyway, I think Keith Thurman, good fighter, but I think is his power overrated? I'm not so sure. Interesting to see, interesting to see where he goes with the Porter fight. He has in my opinion, Thurman's got no inside game, so we will need to see what we really need to see. And I don't think Porter, I don't think Thurman, and I don't think Garcia, the two guys I don't think are improving. But really, you need to check out the Boxing Insight. Great show tonight on the welterweight division and the 147, so I won't ruin that for you guys. Yes, I did manage to talk to Luis Ortiz's manager before he fought Brian Jennings, and Michael Redmond says, mate, check Ingram's channel about the Ortiz failed test. Tell him, Ingram. Yep, the manager was quite clear about how the failed test and what really went down. Check out the interview, so I won't ruin it for you guys. Terence Howard says it's past midnight. That's good. Good night, Terence. Good luck with your channel. I'll be back and we'll tell others. Thank you so much, Cool Juice. Appreciate that. Andy Wilkinson says a lot of these so-called top guys and prospects have been caught with PEDs. And let's be honest, a lot more will be, as no way you put on all that muscle, naming no names. Yeah, I still find it very bizarre how Anthony Joshua's dad came out and said, this is done by hard work, no steroids. That's what his friends have been saying. I still find that very odd, that statement. But there you go. Anthony seemed very embarrassed about it all, just keeping it low. Is Joshua on steroids? I don't know. I can't say he's. Well, I will say this much. And people keep arguing me about it. Listen, if everyone had PEDs, then everyone's going to play a level playing field. That's it. But the fact that some people are for sure on PEDs and other people are not, then it's not level playing fields. And as far as I'm concerned, there's one rule for the elite and another rule for everybody else. So how do you know if it's the rumor coin or not? Ben Lowe says Fury's are the only top heavyweights I believe to be clean. There you go. Berger says, yeah, man. Exactly, mate. So Ingram, being in Ireland, have you heard about the petition for McGregor to be on the Euro coin? Haha. No, I haven't heard that. That'd be interesting. Joshua was on roids when he came out of jail after remand. He wanted to be bigger and gain respect in his hometown. If he was not on them now, you don't lose muscle mass and muscle memory. Haye is clean. Really? Really? You think Haye is clean? The guy who's prepared to BS his way and do the things that he's done. I'm not saying he's dirty, but I will put past anything past. And I've seen him look really big in fights and look really small afterwards. So I don't know. It's easy to get back as soon as you lift again. Why do you think fighters fight every 6 months? 6 months, 3 month cycle, 3 months clean. There you go. Terence Talbot, yeah, he has said it. Oh, Haye said he was clean, so you believe him. Haye also said that Mori hasn't been dominated. I think Haye also said that Fury didn't stand a chance against Klitschko. Haye is clean, always clean. England won't say it, but I will. He's a fucking cheating bitch. LOL. That's what Andy Wilkinson says. Michael says, no, Joshua said he'd done stories as a kid. Well, I see he's got experience of it then. Fred Hakeem says, Joshua put on 20 pounds of muscle mass since the Olympics, and he lies about not lifting weights. Well, that's it. Guys, just before I end tonight, I will certainly get the hangout going. That's something I will work on. The other thing I would say is I want to communicate with you guys. What do you think? How would you like to see Bayloric TV moving forward in 2016? What would you like to see? Now, for me, I'd like to go back and maybe interview people of the past more. Maybe go that angle. Maybe talk less to fighters and more to trainers. Let me know what you think. What do you think? What do you think? This is the channel for the fans. Where do you think Bayloric could move forward? What do you think? What do you enjoy? What don't you enjoy? What do you want to see more of? Should there be regular live shows every week? How do you think Bayloric can reach a wider audience? What do you think of the interviews? This is your time to speak out. What you want to see, what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of, who you like on the channel, who you don't like on the channel. Do you like the live shows? What do you think? This is your chance. England, just think of new ideas that are creative. That's what you should do. Bring new additions. Oh, I have got some good ideas. More live shows. Try and get me more interviews with prospects. Yes. Well, let's be honest. You got Terence Crawford for me. You got Rashid Ellis. Check out Rashidi Ellis. I keep telling you, people, the welterweight division prospect, Rashidi Ellis. I will keep on talking to you about Rashidi Ellis. Check him out. That's a man that I love. Love that boy. #1 amateur in America. Check him out. Rashidi Ellis. He says, Bruce Wayne says, get more interviews with prospects. Agreed. IMO, in my opinion, current stuff is more relevant. Okay. More controversial, bring race into it, etc. Not on the Bayloric TV boxing channel, personally, but I do believe that people like James Ali Bashir will talk about race relations. But I want to keep away from that stuff. Not too much of it, but some of it's good, constructively. Redmond says, I enjoy all the boxing talk. I love the interviews and the questioning. No BS, not like Coogan being too pally. Okay. Jamie Patton says more Peter Fury. Yep, well, we've got a plan for that in the future. Give us that Hatman interview. Hatman's ducking me, so you guys get Hatman, and I feel like chasing Hatman. So you guys, Hatman's ducking me, so chase him. I've got another crossover coming in shortly against two guys that I've been really wanting to get for years. Might get that. Jamie Patterson says more Uncle Bashir. Redmond says Peter Fury should do an audiobook. Could listen to that man all day. Andy Wilkins says, I think me, you, Cameron should all get together and make something happen, bud. You know how a lot of it works in my opinion, Ingram is the best out there. Very nice, Andy. Appreciate that. No race. I'm sick of that. I would have to agree with that too. I don't really want to go down those lines. It's there. We're all aware of it. There may be topics where that may come in, you know, constructively. We could talk about it and not really black on white or black on this or black on that or Asian this. But we could probably look at it as maybe historical factors and points and bring facts to it as opposed to just throwing accusations out there. Backed with facts would be interesting. Me and Ingram could be a lethal combination as the Boxing Insight. Let's do business as the Boxing Insight. A live show with trainers would be good. Q&A thing. Yeah, I like that. Something that let's leave it there. Terrence Tabber says Hatman won't do interviews. Well, there you go. That's down to Hatman. Let's get it going. Cameron on pod, the new breed. Absolutely. I'm going to be doing more crossover shows for sure. And once I can get myself sorted out, probably get some more interviews. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff over in Ireland. I think you guys need to see more stuff in Ireland, see more of the rising Irish fighters. There's some very good fighters coming out of Ireland, from heavyweights right down. So it'd be good to get some Irish boxing on as well. Let's leave it there. I know the score there. Okay, good. What else do you think about Bayloric TV boxing channel? What do you think about that in terms of moving forward? How would you think about going about getting more subscribers for the future? Because more subscribers, more exposure brings more word. Interesting. Andy Wilkins says, damn, Ingram is in demand. Haha. Give you some more insight into future plans. Okay. For those of you who like boxing but like other things as well, don't forget Bayloric TV is a relatively new channel. If you go to our old channel, check out Bayloric itself. Has got some of the old gold interviews. Interviews from Peter Fury when like nobody knew about Peter Fury. The interview when he first took over as Tyson's trainer. Check out my interview with Peter Fury there. Bayloric. Check out interviews with Keith Thurman when people were just talking about Keith Thurman. Before he fought after for Quintana. Check out Terence Crawford interviews. Up to this point, we still hold the record number of interviews with Terence Crawford. Check those interviews out. Check out interviews with Ray Beltran. Before, you know, check those interviews out as well. There's lots of old interviews you can check out there. Check out interviews with Ali Adams, the whole drug thing, to the triangle interview, which is Ali Adams and Don Charles and Steve Goodwin. Very interesting stuff there. What happened to the coaching thing? Oh, yes. Well, we did end the 6 weeks. I've got some videos on that. Just been offered to do another coaching stint starting Monday morning with boxing in the primary school this time. And I've just finished doing a stint with Cricket Island. Let me just show you guys this quickly. Spending 2 days. Whoa. Doing some two days with Cricket Island, doing some coaching with them. God. Let me go on top. But yeah, been doing 2 days coaching with Cricket Island. So I've been doing work as a tutor or assistant tutor, working with coaches in Ireland. So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 days. As soon as I came back tonight, got into doing the boxing with you guys tonight. So I'll be doing more coaching, doing more boxing coaching, and I want to certainly get down to getting more experience working with some other top boxing coaches, maybe with one of the Olympic coaches I'll be working with in the near future. Once I make my move, I will be doing that as well. So I definitely want to get into boxing a lot more, take on some fighters. I'd like to do it for the future, definitely. Lads, give Bayloric a break. He will be massive in the future. Boxing we love. More subscribers could be gained by getting Prince Patel. No, I'm not going to those degrees. I'm sorry. No disrespect, but I'm not going to go after fighters for interviews to get ratings. I think one of the things, and I can say so far, the kind of interviews we've had so far I don't think I've had an interview where people said that guy's an idiot, don't bring him back on the show. I've never had that sort of reception. I've always had guys that are very respectable. I'm not so sure about Prince Patel. I don't even know how long he's going to be around as a fighter. The idea of a Q&A with a fighter is a great idea. I'm going to speak to that a few tomorrow. By the way, check out the Q&A I did with Keith Thurman and the fans. If you haven't listened to that interview, check out Keith Thurman and the fans. It's on Bayloric. So Keith Thurman talking to the fans of boxing across America and Europe. I did that with Bayloric. Check that as well. Michael Rubin says, getting the right combination of names in the title and right tags gets more hits. Yeah, I do know that. That's true. I don't know why my tags don't. I need to get my tags sorted out better. The boxing size is not easy building. There are loads of pods out there. You just need to be different and see how it goes. More interview fighters, says Benjamin Berger. Michael Rubin says, ask fighters, trainers their take on current scenes. So you can say blah, 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 talking whoever is hot topic. I know some tricks. I just interview fighters for my own satisfaction, really, says Boxing Insight. Subscribers will come with consistent quality content, says Jamie Patterson. Ingram, why did you move from Grenada to Ireland? The weather alone is enough reason to stay over there. Yeah, the weather is great, but when you have to go to the post office to pick up your own post, when you have to pay for your own post coming in, when you everything that gets delivered to you have to pay double the amount of money on, and it's about politics. It's your name that gets you in the door as opposed to what you do. I think it's the Caribbean's good for holiday, long term. If I'm going back there, I'd go there intermittently back and forth, but it's not somewhere I would live long term. So, and if you go on my Bayloric channel, you'll see I did quite a long interview about my thoughts in Grenada. And by the way, check out, if you're interested in my journeys in Grenada, do check out a show called The Cricket Doctor. That's another thing of my stuff in Grenada. And go to Bayloric Worldwide, www.bayloricworldwide.com. Check that out, and you'll see the shows. A lot of shows that I've done outside of boxing, stuff in the Caribbean, interviews with Destiny Child's former manager. Lots of different interviews there. So some stuff there for you to check out. Yeah, Boxing Sign's pretty good indeed. Most of what Ingram and Boxing Insight need is a dedicated web and branding guy. Yeah. I'm plugging myself, but it's true. Yeah, we need a branded a web guy that's going to actually show up on Skype. Anyway, moving on. Boxing Insights. I'm going to start to hang out like this. What Ingram is doing. I just think that talking to the viewers seems to be a good thing to do. It is, but I think I want to mix it up with getting viewers on. But what I want to do is get more viewers on Skype. I really do want to get viewers on Skype. So if you can, please, if you're on Skype, inbox me or leave me your Skype details. I want to add you on. And then when I do interviews, I'm going to add you onto my Skype. And then we might do a Q&A special. So we have guys that I kind of understand, get to know a bit, and get you on to do interviews, do Q&A specials. Maybe some interviews with promoters. A conference call with Hearn Warren would be good. Got good relations with Frank Warren, to be honest. Very good relations with Frank Warren. And I have interviewed Warren before. Promoters, I don't know. I mean, they're looking to promote their product, and I don't know. Promoters, I'm not sure. We'll have to think about that one. Hey, you never called your tar, LOL. I didn't call because you're never on Skype. That's why I didn't call. Bit difficult to call you if you're not on Skype. Anyway, Michael Redmond, it helps staying humble too. Never blowing your own trumpet. People like that, no matter who you have on. Don't be like, oh yeah, this is them, man. You know the score, mate. Of course I know the score. Absolutely. Like I said, who else? Like I said. Oh, by the way, check out, if you haven't heard it already, check out the Floyd Mayweather parody interview. Check it out. Some Bayloric as well. Something you have to check out as well if you have never heard it before. Who shot Frank Warren? Coogan. I've known Coogan for years. Absolute years I've known Coogan. Nice guy. James I've known for years as well. I'll fix that, mate. DM me and I'll sort it, bud. Thank you very much. That sounds good. Coogan is pro asylum and NBP. Yeah. Coogan does his thing, and a lot of people give him stick for it, but he's done what he's done. So, yeah. Right, I'm coming to the end of this. Anybody else got any other thoughts before I close off tonight? We'll probably be back on Saturday night for a Haye special. Maybe we'll do a Haye special. Maybe take some odds and people predictions beforehand, and then we can do a after the fight. Yeah, the undercard will be interesting. It's got all of the Goodwin fighters on it, so that'll be interesting. Good exposure for those guys. I heard another fighter pulled out. I think O'Donnell's pulled out of that. And then we can do a live. Afterwards, we can do a live in between Wilder's before Wilder fights in America. Maybe we can do a live show then. And then we can do, maybe depending on how the fights go at the end, maybe do a live at the end as well. So maybe we could do a heavyweight special. Smith versus Canelo. Frank confirmed the offer has been made. Liam Smith versus Canelo. Are you serious, mate? That, at this point, that's definitely me saying goodnight. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. 11 p.m. Yeah, we might do it before Haye. Before Haye goes to the ring. So we might do it maybe an hour beforehand so we can get people's predictions in. Let's do a live prod during the Haye fight. I'll even grace you with my blast presence, LOL. Interesting. Might do live commentary. That'd be quite funny, actually, do live commentary on the Haye fight. Yeah, might start doing that. It'd be quite funny. Let's look into that. Okay. I think that's it, guys. Oh, after. Okay, fine. Yeah, that'd be good. After the fight, be good. Definitely, Michael. Sounds good. I think that's about it for me. If there's anything else I'm thinking about, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, and share the video. Tell your friends, and make sure you are a part of the next live show. And how can you be part of the next live show? Make sure you subscribe. Did you know an interesting fact here about Bayloric TV? 75% of Bayloric TV are non-subscribers. 75%. Tells you something, doesn't it? I'm out. Take care. Have a good night.